The chamber reeked of sterile metal and old blood. Commander Alan Drake's wrists burned where the neural cuffs bit into his skin, sending jolts of pain through his arms every few seconds. He'd been stripped of his uniform, left in the thin gray prisoner's garment that did nothing against the cold. 3 days since the battle at Kepler Station. 3 days since humanity's Outer Rim defense collapsed under the Kashari onslaught. 3 days waiting for the interrogator everyone whispered about in terror. The door hissed open. She entered like a storm-given form. Vel'kara stood nearly 7 feet tall, her gray-blue skin marked with ritual scars that traced her kills across her arms and neck. 4 eyes, 2 on each side of her angular face, fixed on Drake with predatory focus. Her armor was black composite, form-fitted and etched with symbols he didn't recognize. She carried no visible weapons. She didn't need them. "Commander Drake," she said. Her voice was surprisingly soft, almost melodic, which made it more unsettling. "You commanded the defense platform at Kepler Station." "I did. You killed 43 Kashari warriors before your surrender." 47, Drake said. "But who's counting?" One of her upper eyes twitched, the closest thing to emotion he'd seen. She moved closer, circling him like he was prey. "You will provide command codes for Earth's planetary defense grid. You will identify the locations of your hidden supply depots. You will give me the names of your resistance network leaders." "No." Vel'kara stopped directly in front of him. "I have broken stronger humans than you. I have extracted secrets from minds that thought themselves unbreakable. I am a tool of war, Commander. I do not fail." Drake met her gaze. All 4 eyes unwavering. "When did you last choose something for yourself?" Silence crashed into the room. Vel'kara's head tilted, emotion so slight he almost missed it. "What?" "Simple question," Drake said. His voice stayed calm despite the pain radiating from the cuffs. "When was the last time you made a choice that was yours alone? Not an order. Not a mission. Just something you wanted." "I want to serve the Empire." "That's not what I asked." Vel'kara's hand shot out, gripping his throat. Her strength was terrifying. She could crush his windpipe without effort, but her grip stayed just shy of lethal. "You think psychological tactics will work on me? I am not like you. I do not question. I do not hesitate." "Then kill me," Drake whispered. "If you're just a tool, if there's nothing else in there, then finish it. Why waste time talking?" Her hand trembled, just for a second. Then she released him and stepped back. "Tomorrow," she said, "tomorrow you will break." She left him alone in the dark. That night Vel'kara sat in her quarters and did something she hadn't done in years. She tried to remember. The Kashari conditioning was thorough, designed to suppress anything that might interfere with combat efficiency. Emotions were weaknesses. Memories were distractions. She was supposed to exist only in the present, only for the mission. But Drake's question had opened something. A crack in the wall she'd built around herself. She remembered a name. Vel'kara. A smaller version of herself laughing in gardens under a purple sky. A sister? The memory slipped away before she could grasp it fully, leaving only an ache she didn't have words for. Vel'kara stood and activated her data terminal. She pulled up her service record. 17 years of combat, 312 confirmed kills, 86 successful interrogations, 0 failures. The numbers were supposed to bring satisfaction. They brought nothing. She returned to Drake the next morning. He looked worse. The neural cuffs had been set to increase their pulses overnight. Regulations. She hadn't ordered it, but she hadn't stopped it either. "Command codes," she said without preamble. Drake's laugh was hoarse. "You look tired. Bad dreams?" "I do not dream. Everyone dreams, Vel'kara. Even tools." She moved to the control panel and deactivated the neural cuffs. Drake's arms dropped, and he gasped in relief. Vel'kara watched him carefully. "Why do you do this?" she asked. "Do what? Refuse. You know I will extract the information eventually. You know your resistance is futile. Why endure unnecessary suffering?" Drake rubbed his wrists, wincing. "Because every second you spend on me is a second you're not hurting someone else. Because maybe, just maybe, if I keep asking the right questions, you'll remember you're more than what they made you. They did not make me. I am Kashari. We are born warriors. Are you? Or were you born something else and turned into this? Vel'kara's hand went to her sidearm. The motion was automatic, trained. But she didn't draw. I should kill you for such words. Should. But will you? The door hissed open before she could answer. General Thex entered, her superior and former mentor. He was older, broader, his scars covering nearly every visible inch of skin. His four eyes assessed the situation immediately. Progress? He asked. The human is resistant, Vel'kara said. But I will break him. Thex moved closer to Drake, studying him like an insect. Perhaps you've grown soft, Vel'kara. I warned the Command Council that your last mission showed signs of hesitation. I completed that mission with full efficiency. You let 3 prisoners live when execution was ordered. They had intelligence value. They had nothing. Thex drew his blade, a curved weapon that hummed with energy. Let me demonstrate proper interrogation technique. Vel'kara stepped between them. The movement surprised her as much as it surprised Thex. He is my assignment, General. I will handle this my way. Thex's eyes narrowed. Your way seems ineffective. Step aside. No. The word hung in the air like a dropped grenade. Thex's hand tightened on his blade. You refuse a direct order? Vel'kara's mind raced. What was she doing? Why was she protecting this human? But Drake's question echoed in her thoughts. When did you last choose something for yourself? I request more time, General. 2 more days. If I fail, you may proceed as you wish. Thex studied her for a long moment. 2 days. If he has not broken by then, I will take over. And Vel'kara, I will be watching your methods very carefully. He left. Vel'kara released a breath she hadn't known she was holding. Thank you, Drake said quietly. Do not thank me. I will still extract your secrets. Will you? She wanted to hit him. She wanted to scream. Instead, she did something that terrified her. She sat down across from him, the interrogator and prisoner on equal level. Tell me about Earth, she said. Drake blinked in surprise. What? Your homeworld. Tell me about it. Why? Because I am asking. Because I choose to know. So Drake told her. He spoke of blue oceans and green forests, of cities that glittered like stars, of diversity that spanned continents and cultures. He told her about his daughter Maya, who was 7 and wanted to be a pilot. He told her about morning coffee and the smell of rain and music that made you want to dance. Vel'kara listened. And somewhere deep inside, something that had been frozen for 17 years began to thaw. That night, she dreamed. She saw the purple sky again, clearer this time. She was young, maybe 10 cycles old. Vel'kara was teaching her to paint with the luminescent algae that grew by their home. Their mother watched from the doorway, smiling. Vel'kara could almost hear her voice. Then the memory shattered. Soldiers came. Not Kashari soldiers, but something else. Machines. The details were fragmented. She remembered pain. Needles. Her sister screaming. Then nothing. When she woke, she was in the Kashari Military Academy. They told her she'd been born there. They told her she had no past, only purpose. They had lied. Vel'kara accessed the military database in the dead of night, using code she shouldn't have known, following instincts she couldn't explain. She found her file. It was heavily redacted, but she had skills. She started peeling back layers. What she discovered made her stomach turn. Project Reformation. The Kashari Empire hadn't just trained warriors. They'd taken children from conquered worlds and rebuilt them. Chemical treatments to suppress emotional development. Neural conditioning to enhance aggression and obedience. Memory wipes to erase any trace of their original identities. She found her birth name, Sarah. Not Vel'kara. Sarathani, from a world called Lumina Prime. A world the Kashari had destroyed 30 years ago. Her sister's name was Sarah, not Vel'kara. Sarathane. Listed as deceased, age 12. Vel'kara sat in the darkness of her quarters, staring at the screen. Everything she believed about herself was a construct, a lie built on top of lies. She wasn't a born warrior. She was a stolen child, reprogrammed and weaponized. The rage that filled her was pure and clean and utterly foreign. She'd never felt anything like it. She thought of Drake's question, "When did you last choose something for yourself?" The answer, never, not once in her entire conscious life. Until now! Vel'kara returned to the interrogation chamber before dawn. Drake was asleep, his head slumped forward. She disabled the monitoring systems with a few keystrokes and unlocked his restraints. His eyes snapped open as the cuffs released. "What are you doing?" "Choosing," Vel'kara said. She pulled up the files on her datapad and showed him. "Read this." All of it. Drake's expression shifted from confusion to horror as he scrolled through Project Reformation. My God, how many? Thousands. Across dozens of worlds. The Empire's elite warriors are all products of this program, including you, including me. She met his eyes. There is an access tunnel that leads to the maintenance bay. From there, you can reach the hangar. I have disabled the security sensors for the next 15 minutes. There is a human resistance cell on the moon of Varrock. If you can reach them, they may be able to use this information. Drake stood slowly, watching her carefully. "Come with me." "I cannot. They'll kill you when they find out what you've done. Perhaps. Or perhaps I will kill them first." Vel'kara turned away. "Go, Commander, before I remember what I am supposed to be." "You're supposed to be free," Drake said. "You're supposed to be Sarah." The name hit her like a physical blow. She nodded once, not trusting herself to speak. Drake moved to the door, then paused. "That question you asked about my daughter Maya, she's with the Resistance now. If you make it out, if you want to find people who see you as more than a weapon, look for her. Tell her I sent you. Tell her I'm proud of her. I will tell her you died with honor. I'm not planning on dying. Neither am I." Drake smiled. "Good. See you on the other side, Sarah." He disappeared into the corridor. Vel'kara counted to 60, then triggered the alarm. The facility erupted into chaos. Klaxons blared. Warriors rushed through hallways. General Thex stormed into the interrogation chamber to find Vel'kara standing over Drake's empty restraints, her weapon drawn. "He overpowered me," she said, letting manufactured fury fill her voice. "The human was more enhanced than we realized." Thex's 4 eyes narrowed. "Impossible. You are 3 times his strength." He had a concealed blade, cut through the neural cuffs. She showed him the severed restraints. She'd cut them herself moments before, at an angle that suggested an outward strike. "Then we hunt him down." Thex activated his comm. "Seal all exits. Deploy hunter teams. I want that human found within the hour." Vel'kara fell into formation, her heart pounding in a way that had nothing to do with combat. She'd crossed a line. There was no going back now. The search lasted 3 hours. Drake had a head start and knew how to move quietly. By the time they found evidence of his escape route, he was already off station, heading for Varrock's moon in a stolen shuttle. Death. He paced the command center like a caged predator. "This is your failure, Vel'kara. Your responsibility. I accept full accountability, General. You will hunt him down personally. You will bring me his head, and then we will discuss your future in this command. As you order." Vel'kara requisitioned a fast pursuit craft and launched within the hour. As soon as she cleared the station's sensor range, she changed course. Toward Varrock, toward the restricted military archives on Kashar Prime, the Empire's homeworld. If Project Reformation was real, there would be records, original documentation, names of those responsible. And if she was going to tear down the lie she'd lived her entire life, she needed proof that couldn't be denied. The journey took 2 days. Vel'kara used the time to research, to plan, and to remember. The memories came easier now, flooding back in fragments. Her mother's face, her sister's laugh, the feeling of rain on Lumina Prime, which fell in perfect silver sheets. She remembered the day the Kashari came. She'd been 9. Sarah had been 12. Their parents had tried to hide them in the cellar, but the soldiers had sensors. They'd kill their parents efficiently, without malice. Just targets to eliminate. Then they'd taken the children. Vel'kara had screamed. She'd fought, They'd sedated her. When she woke, she was Vel'kara, warrior of the Kashari Empire, with no memory of being Seraphane. The military archives were heavily guarded, but Vel'kara had elite clearance. She walked past security with confidence, accessed the restricted database, and downloaded everything related to Project Reformation. What she found was worse than she'd imagined. The project had been running for 70 years, over 15,000 children taken. The Empire's entire warrior caste was built on stolen lives and manufactured loyalty. She found the names of those responsible: scientists, generals, politicians, and at the very top, the Imperial Council itself. Vel'kara encrypted the files and transmitted them to a dead drop sheet established. Then she set the archive to broadcast the information across all military channels in exactly 6 hours. By then, she'd either be dead or she'd have started a revolution. She returned to her ship and set course for Varak's moon. Time to find Drake and figure out what happened next. She found him 3 days later, meeting with resistance leaders in an underground bunker. The humans nearly shot her on sight, but Drake intervened. "She saved my life," he said, "and she has information that changes everything." Vel'kara stood before the assembled resistance fighters and told them everything. She showed them the files. She explained Project Reformation. She watched their expressions shift from suspicion to horror to something that looked almost like pity. "How many Kashari warriors know about this?" asked a woman named Lisa Chen, one of the resistance commanders. "None. The conditioning prevents them from questioning their origins. But I have set the files to broadcast across all military channels in 2 hours. When they see the truth, some will reject it. Their conditioning runs deep, but others will awaken. Others will choose." "And you?" Drake asked. "What will you choose?" Vel'kara looked at him. This human who'd asked a simple question and shattered her entire world. "I choose to fight. Not for the Empire, not for humanity. For everyone who was taken. For everyone who never got the chance to choose." The broadcast went live exactly on schedule. Vel'kara watched it happen on military channels, saw the reactions ripple across the Kashari fleet. Confusion, denial, then anger. On 17 ships, warriors turned on their commanders. On 32 more, they demanded answers. The Empire's perfect unity cracked like a dam under too much pressure. Within hours, Kashari Command issued orders to suppress the information and execute anyone who spread it. But it was too late. The truth was out there, and truth had a way of spreading. General Thex contacted her directly, his 4 eyes burning with rage on the view screen. "Traitor. You will die screaming for this betrayal." "I am not a traitor," Vel'kara said calmly. "I am Seraphane of Lumina Prime, and I am coming for everyone who made me forget that name." She cut the connection. The human resistance leaders were staring at her. "You just declared war on the entire Kashari Empire," Chen said. "No. I declared war on the leaders who built that empire on lies and stolen children. The warriors themselves are victims. Some will see that. Some will join us. And if they don't," Drake asked, "then we fight anyway, because some things are worth dying for. Freedom is one of them." The revolution started small. A handful of ships, a few hundred warriors who believed the evidence and chose to break their conditioning. But it grew. Every defection inspired others. Every freed warrior shared their story, triggered memories in their comrades. The Empire responded with brutal force. Loyalist fleets hunted down rebel ships. Summary executions were ordered for anyone who questioned the Imperial Council. But the violence only proved Vel'kara's point. If the Kashari were truly born warriors who served willingly, why did their leaders need such harsh methods to maintain control? 3 weeks after the initial broadcast, Vel'kara led a mixed force of humans and rebel Kashari in a raid on a Reformation facility. They freed 200 children ranging in age from 6 to 14, all in various stages of conditioning. One of them was a girl with gray-blue skin and 4 frightened eyes who couldn't have been older than 8. She looked at Vel'kara and asked, "Are you here to hurt us?" Vel'kara knelt down to her eye level. "No, I am here to take you home. Do you remember your home?" The girl's face scrunched up in concentration. I think so." There were flowers, big orange flowers that sang when the wind blew. "Then we will find those flowers." "I promise." She meant it. every word. The war escalated. The Empire deployed their most loyal forces. The rebels fought with desperation and growing numbers. Humanity, seeing an opportunity, formed an alliance with the freed Kashari. It was an uneasy partnership built on mutual necessity, but Drake worked tirelessly to bridge the gap. "We're not so different," he told a council of rebel Kashari warriors. "We both want freedom. We both want to choose our own path. That's worth fighting for together." Vel'kara stood beside him. "The Empire took our choices. Humanity fights to protect theirs. For now, our enemies are the same." The alliance held. Barely. 4 months into the war, Vel'kara received intelligence that General Thex was personally leading an assault on the rebel stronghold at Varak. She knew what she had to do. Drake tried to stop her. "You don't have to face him alone. We have fighters. We have ships." He was my mentor. He taught me everything I know about combat. This is my responsibility. It's a trap, you know that, right? Of course it is. But if I do not go, he will kill everyone at that base. Thousands of people, human and Kashari both. I cannot allow that. "Then I'm coming with you." Vel'kara looked at this human who had somehow become her friend. "You will slow me down, probably. But you'll have backup. And someone to tell your story if things go badly." She wanted to argue, but the truth was, she didn't want to face Thex alone. Not because she was afraid of dying, but because she was afraid of losing herself again. Of falling back into old patterns. "Very well. But stay behind me, and if I tell you to run, you run." They took a small strike team, 6 humans and 4 rebel Kashari, and infiltrated the staging area where Thex was coordinating the assault. The facility was a fortress, but Vel'kara knew its weaknesses. She'd helped design it. They fought through 3 levels of security. Vel'kara moved like water. Her combat training merged with her newfound purpose. She didn't fight as a tool anymore. She fought as someone who had something to protect. They found Thex in the command center, waiting. His weapons were laid out on the table before him. He stood with his arms crossed, 4 eyes fixed on Vel'kara. "I knew you would come," he said. "Predictable to the end. I am not Vel'kara anymore. No, you are a broken weapon, a tool that forgot its purpose." Thex picked up his blade, the same one he'd drawn on Drake months ago. "I taught you everything. I made you into perfection, and you threw it away for lies and sentiment. You taught me to kill. The lies taught me to obey. Sarathane taught herself to be free. Sarathane died 30 years ago. No, she was buried. There is a difference. They fought. It was brutal and efficient. 2 masters of Kashari combat using every technique ever developed. Thex was stronger, more experienced. But Vel'kara fought with something he'd never had. Purpose beyond programming. The battle raged through the command center. Drake and the strike team held off reinforcements, but barely. Energy blasts scorched the walls. Blades rang against armor. Thex landed a devastating blow that sent Vel'kara crashing into a bulkhead. "You were my greatest student," he said, advancing. "Such a waste." Vel'kara coughed blood. "I was your slave. You just didn't realize it." She rolled aside as his blade came down, using his momentum against him. Her counter-strike caught him across the ribs, cutting deep. Thex roared in pain and rage. "Everything I did was for the Empire," he growled. "For order, for strength. You did it for control. Poop for power. You turned children into weapons because you were afraid of people who could think for themselves. Better a weapon with purpose than a person drowning in choices than you have never truly lived." Vel'kara's blade found his throat. Thex's eyes widened in shock. He tried to speak, but only blood came out. He fell, the architect of her stolen childhood dying at the feet of the person he'd tried to erase. Vel'kara stood over him, breathing hard. She felt no satisfaction. Only a hollow kind of relief. It was done. "We need to go," Drake called out. "More troops incoming." They fought their way out, leaving the command center in flames. The assault on Varak was disrupted without its leader. The rebels held their ground. The war continued for another year. The Kashari Empire fractured as more warriors broke their conditioning. Some remained loyal, convinced. The broadcasts were enemy propaganda. But enough chose freedom that the balance of power shifted. The final battle took place at Kashari Prime itself. A massive fleet of rebels, human and Kashari, together against the Loyalist forces defending the homeworld. The fighting was fierce. Ships burned in the void. Thousands died on both sides. Vel'kara led the ground assault on the Imperial Council chambers. They fought through the palace, facing the elite guards who had been too deeply conditioned to ever break free. It was horrible, killing those who might have been allies in another life. The council members were old Kashari, politicians who had built their power on Project Reformation and the warriors it produced. When Vel'kara crashed through their doors, they showed no fear, only contempt. "You think you have won?" one of them asked. "You think destroying us will change anything?" "The Empire is eternal. There will always be warriors. There will always be war." "You are right," Vel'kara said. "There will always be war, but it will be fought by people who choose to fight, not weapons who have no choice. She didn't kill them. She arrested them instead and brought them to face trial. Let them answer for their crimes in front of the thousands they had stolen and broken." When the battle ended, when the smoke cleared and the bodies were counted, a fragile peace settled over Kashari Prime. The Empire was broken. In its place, something new would have to be built. Vel'kara stood on a balcony overlooking the capital city. Drake found her there as the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Not quite like Lumina Prime, but close enough to hurt. "They want you to lead the new government," Drake said. "I am not a leader. I am a warrior. You're a person who made impossible choices and inspired others to do the same. That sounds like a leader to me." Vel'kara shook her head. "I will help rebuild. I will help free those still trapped in the old ways. But I will not rule. I have spent my entire life following orders. I want to learn who I am when no one is telling me what to do." Drake smiled. "That's fair. So what will you do?" She thought about it. About the girl with memories of singing flowers. About the thousands of children still learning to remember who they were. About Sarah, her sister, lost so long ago. "I will help them find their way home," Vel'kara said quietly. "All of them. Every child taken, every memory stolen. I will help them remember. Need any help with that?" "Always." They stood together in silence, watching the sun set on one era and rise on another. Somewhere in the city below, former warriors were choosing new names, new lives, new purposes. The Empire had called them tools. Humanity had helped them remember they were people. Vel'kara closed her eyes and whispered the name she'd been given at birth. Sarah. It felt right. Like coming home after a long journey through darkness. Drake put a hand on her shoulder. "Welcome back, Sarah." She smiled. For the first time in 30 years, it felt genuine. "Thank you, Alan, for everything." "I just asked a question." It was the right question. Below them, the city lights began to glow in the gathering darkness. A new day was coming. For the first time in her life, Sarah Thaney would face it as herself, making her own choices, walking her own path. She was no longer a tool of war. She was free, and that made all the difference.